Hello YouTube, hello, and we are back with not another speed lab. Yes, I know, you're all surprised. Not a speed lab? What channel is this? But yeah, we're actually gonna talk about, you guys know what we're gonna talk about, it's in the damn title, obviously, right? But yeah, we're gonna be talking about Vortex. Finally, I'm gonna update the old Vortex guy that I had in Tekken 7. So yeah, time for Tekken 8. Although some of the stuff I'm gonna talk about is still gonna be similar to the Tekken 7 one. I don't know what I said there, but yeah, it's gonna be a little bit different as well, just a little bit different from my previous guide, but the general gist of it is gonna be the same. So yeah, so one thing I want you guys to notice is the character that I'm using, right? I'm using Lily as my opponent, and I'm also on the right side just so I can enable her to sidestep to the left better. So one thing is I'm gonna be using all of my stuff and all the things I'm gonna tell you guys against Lily. So even though they will work against Lily, that's why I'm showcasing this, it will be a little bit easier for it to work against other characters, like average sidestep characters, because we all know Lily has the best sidestep in the game. So yeah, keep that in mind, that's very important. And the other thing that's very important is when you do stuff like this, you also have to try this out on P2 side. So you have P2, just so they'll be able to sidestep to the left. If you're P1, mind games are a little bit different, because sometimes they won't be able to sidestep to the left because of you know, how P1, P2 works. But yeah, that's for later. Now let's talk about vortexes, right? I'm gonna divide this section from all the knockdowns. Basically, knockdowns are vortex starters, basically, right? They start your vortexes. They have the potential to start vortexes. And we're just gonna start from 1-1-2, the classic, you know, classic one, 1-1-2 punish. And I also have her set to sidewalk to the left and tech roll to the left. So that's why I have to be P2. This is not possible if they're P1. So 1-1-2, you see Lily, tech rolls left, immediately sidewalks left, right? And this is very important for you to do, because then you can understand if your hell sweep is gonna work or not, right? For example, that hell sweep that I did right there did not work. He was able to sidestep it. And it's very important for Kazuya players to know how to not let this happen, basically, even against Lily. And it is possible. I mean, that's why the guide is here. That's why it's here. So yeah. So let's start with the 1-1-2. And there are very specific techniques that you can do that I like doing. I think there might be other ones as well, but this is the only one I know of anyway. So what you do to basically make your opponents not be able to tech roll into sidestep your hell sweeps is you have to do a very specific wave dash into a hell sweep. So what I did right there is I did a little bit of a wave dash, right? And a forward dash. Not a forward dash, but I just held forward a bit and then hell sweep. Right? So what that means, what that does is that it realigns a little bit because of the wave dash and the forward hold. You guys can also look at my inputs, right? This basically realigns and makes it so this tracks better. Of course, it doesn't track that much better, especially against Lily, but if you do it correctly, she won't be able to sidestep it. Like whatever she's doing there, that is not possible. And this is a very good technique in my opinion, and I use it in a lot of my vortexes in general. Vortex starters and knockdowns in general. But this has a very big glaring weakness. The biggest weakness it has is that it takes a lot of time for you to do this. Because this takes a lot of time because of the wave dash and the forward hold and all of that. So that means that you're going to be very susceptible to stuff like get up kicks, right? So 1-1-2, if I try that, I am gonna get hit. But the very good thing about Tekken 8 get up kicks is that they don't have counter hit properties. In Tekken 7 this was very scary, for example, right? Very scary because you're gonna get countered launched. But in Tekken 8 that's no longer the case, so I'm a little bit more confident doing stuff like this. That's why this is good in my opinion to do, even though you might get up kicked. The scariest parts are get up kicks, as I already said, and spring kicks. If you do the same thing, you're also gonna get spring kicked. But, as I said, even spring kicks are not that scary in this game. They don't knock down, and they're only +2. +2 for the opponent. So, it's not that scary. But, of course, if you want to mitigate this and not let it happen, then you have to let go of the vortex. So basically your choice after 1-1-2 is very simple, and I think this also applies to all vortex starters. Almost all of them anyway. I'm going to talk about the exceptions later, but almost all of them this applies to, because you have to look out for get up kicks and spring kicks. So 1-1-2, if they get up kick, you won't be able to start a vortex no matter what you do, even if you choose a mid. I'm going to talk about the mid later. So what you do is you basically let go of the Vortex and try to bait it out. You let go of it, bait out the spring kick, maybe punish it in some way, right? Or go close, punish it with electrics, something like that. Or go close, sidestep, punish it like that. Basically you bait it out. It's exactly the same with get up kicks. You either guess and block, or you make them whiff and punish them. So these are your two options when it comes to 1-1-2. Either go for your Vortex, thinking that they're gonna tech roll, or don't go for your Vortex, thinking that they're gonna get up kick, spring kick, recovery kick, whatever, right? So these are the two options that you have. But the one thing I also really want to mention about Kazuya's Vortex in this game is that we had a very big slap in the face, because back rolls in this game are way better. So why am I doing something like this instead of a fast hell sweep, right? One is because of the distance, obviously, but there's also a very good reason that I'm using this. The biggest reason I'm doing that is because of the back quick roll, so basically holding back, and how much big of a buff it got in Tekken 8. So if you notice, that back roll creates a lot of space, and it creates way more space than it did in the previous game. What this means is if I do a hell sweep and I don't do it delayed, I have a very big chance to whiff this, just like this, because of the big space the back roll creates. That's why I'm doing a very specific technique, which is a wave dash hold forward into hell sweep, which creates enough space for you to even reach this. And even in this situation, Lily won't be able to sidestep either, right? So it's very important to do this so stuff like this doesn't happen. But this requires very strict movement. It's not easy to do all the time. Sometimes you may mess it up. But to be like safer, just hold your forward for longer than normal. Just a little bit longer than normal. This will risk them being able to sidestep you, especially Lily, I think will be able to sidestep you. Not that much, but still. But other characters, not as much. It's just Lily we're talking about. So be very careful when it comes to this. Okay, so that's a Vortex starter when you want to hell sweep. Of course, hell sweep is not the only option you can do. You can also do down back 4 here, but the same maneuver, right? You do a wave dash, forward dash, down back 4. Exactly the same, and it also works if they tech roll to the left, which is the most common tech roll, because, you know, it's Kazuya, the 1-1-2, go close, down back 4, works. You can also use something like down back 3, this also works, but do not use something like down 1+2. Do not do this. This is not good. It's not it's not good in the Vortex. What you use this for is usually for high crushing in the neutral, right? Or counter launching. So yeah, down 1+2. We're not gonna talk about this anymore. It's just not good to use in Vortexes. Down back 4, good. Down back 3, okay. Hell sweep, obviously, right? But down back 4 is one of the best ones. So 1-1-2, down back 4. Very good. Low risk low, and works as a mix-up. You can also forward 4 here, but forward 4 you have to be very careful of, because people can actually sidestep this way easier than any other mid. The other mid options you have is forward 4. This is very good. It has a lot of a range, so even on back roll it will hit. It works as a mid mix-up, does a decent damage, +5, right? Not that much plus, but okay. And it's a countered launch, just in case they tech roll into a mash, or maybe if you catch a get-up kick, which to be honest I don't think you will, because get-up kicks are quite fast here, and you're creating a lot of space, right? But sometimes you might get the countered launch. So, not bad at all. And the last one, which in my opinion is the best one, is forward 2. So forward 2 right here is gonna be your go-to mid mix-up. This is amazing because it's fast, it tracks well, and it's a heat engager. Right now I don't have heat on because, you know, I don't want heat engage every time I forward 2, but it's a heat engager, so it's really good, and it's especially good when it comes to devil mode because of the added lasers, right? So not bad at all. It also wall splats at the wall unless you're in heat, which is kind of dumb, but it is what it is. So forward 2 is your go-to. And notice that I have not even talked about forward 3. Why? It's because it sucks. Forward 3 as a Vortex starter, and just a Vortex option in general, it's garbage. Never use it. So the only time you may use it is maybe on a very hard read when you think they're not even tech rolling or sidestepping. But it's bad. Just don't use it. Forward forward 2 is your go-to. And the other thing you should not use is this move. But I'm pretty sure everyone knows to not use this move. It's pretty bad because it does nothing, basically. No tracking. Zero tracking. Even bears avoid this. I tested this on bears. They sidestep it. Imagine bear sidestepping it. Okay, it's that bad. So, yeah, your best option, forward forward 2. You can also forward 4. Steppable though, if you do it incorrectly, which is hard to do, to be honest. And down back 4, great low option. Hell sweep, good low option. Just think about it like that. So that's about 1, 1, 2. And this is one of the best ones when it comes to knockdown because of the frames. So if you look down in the frames, it says plus 20, and the brackets, it says plus 15. So when you want to look at frames, you have to look at the brackets. So if you're basically plus 15, you have a lot of frames. That's why you can do something like this, and it works. But now let's talk about the next one, which is back 1, 2. So back 1, 2 is another punish we have. It's an 11 frame punish. It's better than 1, 1, 2 damage-wise, 7 more damage. But it's worse when it comes to frames. You guys notice that it says plus 9, but in the brackets it's 0. That means your frames suck. It's very bad frames. It also means that this strategy right here, it won't work. It works against average characters sometimes, even then it's sometimes, and against Lily it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You can make this work by dashing into it like this instead of wave dashing, right? But I'm going to talk about the biggest issue of going for a Vortex after back 1, 2. And that, I already mentioned this, is the back quick roll. So this creates so much space when they are getting up that no matter how much I dash here, it's very, very hard for me to make my hell sweep work. Unless I really want to just run in, right? But even then, it's hard. If I really run in, maybe I can make it work. But it's just so much space that it's very, very hard to make that work. But it's still possible sometimes, but I would not really recommend it. Like, not really, right? So back 1, 2, be very, very careful when it comes to vortexing. Although you can, like, dash in down back 4, for example, right? Or dash in forward forward 2, but even then it's like very iffy. A lot of stuff just doesn't work. But you can do forward forward 4, down back 4, stuff like that, but you don't have frames. Your sprint kicks will work, get up kicks will work, recovery kicks will work, and they might even mash something when they get up, and even that might work. You do not have frames. So be very careful about back 1, 2. And unless you know that they're gonna respect you, and they're actually gonna go for, not go, but respect the mix-up basically, and try to duck or, you know, guess in general, then just don't. Don't do anything and try to make them do get up kicks or sprint kicks, bait them and punish them. Or just bait anything. The other thing you can also do in here is you can electric. So electricing here is also a very, very good idea, but only if you create space with wave dashes. Something like this. And the thing about this electric is that it beats sidewalks. So if they do a sidestep, which they are doing, this sidestep sidewalk, after their tech roll, your electric will actually beat it, but you actually have to do an electric, right? If you do a god fist like this, it won't work. Gotta do an electric. So yeah, be careful about that, but this requires a wave dash electric execution, that's 1, and timing, that's 2. You have to do it fast in a way to make this work, but this also has the problem of back rolls, because if they back roll here, your electrics will whiff, because they need to be fast enough, right? You're doing it fast, but they will whiff because they're back rolling and they create space, which, as I said, it's a nightmare. To be honest, it's really a nightmare for Kazuya players, because Tekken 8 back roll is very strong. It's very, very strong because of all the space it creates. So that's back 1, 2. Usually, I don't recommend vortexing after this, but you can, it's possible, obviously. But usually, it's at the cost of a lot of frames and a lot of risk, because they might just smash a hop kick or something. So, be very, very careful. So that's back 1, 2. Let's go up the frames, let's go with 12, and we'll talk about 1 plus 2. So 1 plus 2 is the 12 frame punish, but vortexing here also has the same issue as back 1, 2. Because back rolling, you guys look at how much space it creates, right? That back roll creates so much space that you basically can't get anything. And I would not recommend the Vortex here, but I would recommend it doing something like 50-50 mix-up, which is either a forward forward 2. So if they try to get up here, this is guaranteed. That's 41 damage, decent chunk, right? Even though there's some great health there, it's okay, decent chunk. But you are gonna get you're gonna risk them just staying down and then punishing you for it, right? They can do while staying 4, or if you play against someone like Fang or June, for example, they might while staying 3 and launch you, which I wouldn't recommend it that much against those kind of characters. But this is still not a bad mix-up because of the extra frames, and if you force them to stay down, you get a guaranteed forward forward 4. So it's a mix-up between these two. If they stay down, forward forward 4 is guaranteed. If they don't stay down and try to get up, forward forward 2 is guaranteed. So I would recommend that, but even then you have to be a little bit careful about it. So if 1-1-2, not 1-1-2, 1+2 is a punish isn't the best for like vortexes. It's really not that good. Now let's talk about 13. So this is the new 13 frame punish we have, down back 1-2. And the thing about this move is it only gives this knockdown when you don't have heat, 1, or you have heat and don't heat dash. So this is going to be very rarely used, but I still want to talk about it a little bit. So down back 1-2 doesn't have any frames. As you guys saw, it's -8 in the brackets, but it does have a good pancake flip. It flips them over. Good damage as well. So technically you can do this mix-up, but it has the same problem as back 1-2. A little bit less because it's not that hard to get the hell sweep here, but it's still pretty damn hard, right? Like right there I did it. But as a general rule, down back 1-2 and back 1-2 are not good Vortex starters in general, so you shouldn't go for the hell sweep. The things you can go for is down back 4, more so than hell sweeps because it has more range, right? But even then you have to be careful of the back roll. If they tech roll, it's gonna be easier, but the back roll is a very, very big issue, like a very big issue. That's why something like down back 4 is so much better, but even then be careful. You can mix this up with either forward forward 4, right? Possible. You can also mix this up with forward forward 2, which is amazing. Forward forward 2 is great. You can also mix it up with forward 4 sometimes, but this is hard to do. Using forward 4 in these situations are very hard because they're easily stepped. Okay, so that's about that. Let's go back to tech rolls. Yeah, down back 1-2, also very, very careful about this when using as Vortex. But you don't have to worry about it that much because when you use it, you either heat engage with it if you hit it, which is usually the time, or you heat dash after it, right? So yeah, it's not that big of a problem. So that's about down back 1-2. Now let's talk about down forward 1-4, which is a little bit of a weird one. So normally if you want to start a Vortex, you either want to knockdown, right? And down forward 1-4 is the exception to this because this gives a lot of frames. That's plus 18, right? That's a lot of frames. So down forward 1-4, because of the plus 18 here, you can actually go for a hell sweep and they will not be able to sidestep this because of the frames, unless you delay too much. So what I mean by that is, if I dash hell sweep like this, won't work. If I Weibo hell sweep, like I usually did in the other knockdowns, it also won't work. But if you do a very fast, almost instant hell sweep, even if I delay it a little bit, they will not be able to sidestep this. Even Lily is not able to sidestep this, right? So it's a pure mix-up. It's just very strong. You can mix this up with a forward forward 2, which can be really good, right? Pretty damn good. But this is one of the situations when I would recommend sometimes to do forward forward 3, right? Because this is also one of the few situations when forward forward 3 is not steppable. But you have to keep in mind that the forward forward 3 has to be very, very fast. If I delay the forward forward 3 even a bit, magically stepped, right? Especially Lily can sidestep it way easier than any other characters. But this is important because even Lily can sidestep it if you do it correctly. Fast forward forward 3 and you get a combo, right? Not sidesteppable, can work as a mix-up, but just have to be careful because, you know, some people can just duck and get up. Or just mess this up and this happens because it's not that easy. I just did it, yeah. Especially against Lily, it's not that easy. So if you want like a very good mix-up, forward forward 2, very easy as well. Or hell sweep. Pretty damn good. Or you can do another down forward 1-4, you know, any kind of mid. Or you can do up forward 3. That also works, but usually up forward 3 I would recommend at the wall. So that's about down forward 1-4. And something very similar to this is also down back 4. So if you get down back 4 on counter hit, it is plus 17, while down forward 1-4 is plus 18. It's almost similar mind game wise. You also get the same kind of mind game. Your hell sweep is gonna track immediately if you do it immediately. And you can mix it up with forward forward 2, forward forward 3, although forward forward 3 has to be very fast. Let me demonstrate as well. Right, that was not fast enough, for example. There we go, that was fast enough. So you have to be very, very fast forward forward 3 to make that not steppable, also a mix-up. and it can work. But be very, very careful when it comes to stuff like this, because as I said, 4-4-3, you have to do it very fast, and it's steppable if you don't do it fast. So yeah, be careful about that. But hell sweep is okay, and the 4-4-2 is also okay, and other mid mix-ups also on the okay side. Up 4-2 is a bit on the slower side too, but it's fine. It can work, especially at the wall. Okay. So that's about down 4, down 4, and down back 4 counter hits, which is the rare exception of using vortexes in plus frame situations, right? You can also vortex in other plus frame situations, like if you're +9, for example, right, or +8 after this. It's also possible, but you don't have enough frames to, you know, make hell sweep strat. You just don't. We don't have that. Those two situations are the only two situations that you can have those outside of knockdowns. Okay, so that's about that. Now let's talk about the other knockdown we have, which is up 4-3. I've talked about this as a mid mix-up, so when this hits in the open, do you actually get a vortex or not? This is what I want to talk about. So this has the same problem as back 1-2. So back 1-2, it pushes them very, very far, right? And this also pushes them very, very far. The only difference here is up 4-3 actually gives us frames. So something like this is a little bit easier to do, and it's actually doable, right? Back 1-2 won't make this happen almost at all. It's not doable, but the +8 makes this happen. And you can, you know, mix it up with 4-4-2, as I said. That's your mid option. Or some other mids like 4-4-4, but just don't use 4-4-3, no matter what. So that's good. That is very good. But now let's talk about the problematic thing, which I talked about that a lot. It's the back roll, right? While it is also possible to do this, right? It is possible. But it's way harder. It's way, way harder than other situations. You have to like make sure you dash enough. You have to make sure the dash will also catch side steps. But it is very possible. So up 4-3 can also work as a vortex starter, even against Lily. But as I said, it's very risky because of this whiff. The back roll is very, very risky. Because you have to react very fast to the dash, and then do a very fast hell sweep after your wave dash into the forward hold. So very, very iffy. But it can also work. Up 4-3, very, very good. The next thing I also want to talk about is the next vortex starter, which is a 4-4-4 pancake flip situation in any kind of situation, basically. Doesn't matter if you do this, right? 4-4-4 guaranteed. Doesn't matter if you get this, like down back 4, not down back 4, down back 2. Down back 2, 4-4-4 guaranteed. It doesn't matter, right? The pancake flip situation in general. So this situation also gives a vortex, but in Tekken 7 version of the guide, I talked about this pancake flick being the best starter for a vortex. I think in this game, this is not the best starter for a vortex, in my opinion. The main reason is, again, the back roll. So the back roll creates so much space in this pancake flip situation that it's very, very hard for you to start a vortex, right? You can do it technically just like the out 4-3, right? It's possible, but it's so hard to space this correctly. It's not easy at all. That I'm not sure if it's worth it or not. It's possible, don't get me wrong, right? I'm doing it a lot, but this is like a practice mode situation when I'm instantly going for the wave dash tech and just, you know, making it work. If I delay it a little bit, it might not work sometimes on side steps, so you have to be careful. But the best thing you can also do against this is delay your forward dashes a lot and wave dashes to make as much space as possible. If you do that, it's going to be a little bit more consistent, while also will work against side steps. Because as I said, pancake flip gives you a lot of frames because of the weird knockdown it does. Even though it says +3 there, right? This is the situation that's an exception because of the tech roll taking so much time. Tech roll takes a little bit more time there for them. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. I'm guessing it's because they're face down position. So yeah, keep that in mind. So it's not that bad, but the back roll makes it so you have to like go very forward, very, very forward. And that makes it so that you're very, very susceptible to get up kicks and while standing fours, because they can't do it in that position. So I have to be very, very careful when it comes to that. And this, what I said right now, when you're susceptible to get up kicks, it affects all of the other vortex stars as well. So the big minus of using this technique that I just talked about is that you are gonna get hit by all get up kicks. All of them. Get up low, get up mid, the recovery kick, spring kick, you're just gonna get hit, right? Because you're closing distance, you're getting close, you're trying to vortex them, you're just gonna get hit by all of them. But as I said, getting hit by them is not that big of a problem anymore because they don't have a counter property, unlike in Tekken 7 when they launched you, right? So it's not that bad. So in all these situations, you have to think about either going for the Vortex or baiting the get-up kicks. So the simple situation here is, are they gonna get-up kick? Maybe I'm gonna forward, for example, which can be another option for get-up kicks because of the special unique interaction of Pancake flip, right? Because the get-up kicks are slower here and they cannot spring kick. This is like a special interaction because of the Pancake flip property. When it comes to 1-1-2, if you do something like this, you might still get hit by spring kicks. So the mind game here is a little bit different. Maybe, you know, get back a little bit, dash, backdash, and then bait it out. So you can do whatever you want with the mind games there, but basically expect the get-up kicks. So those are your two options: expect the get-up kicks or don't expect get-up kicks. And now let's talk about the next thing, which is also a big problem, to be honest. But it's not going to be that much of a problem, as much as a problem as the get-up kicks. Like, they're way more annoying. So this is side rolling on the ground. So if they do stay on the ground, that's another extra mind game. So normally Vortexes are 50-50s, right? If they do tech roll, then it's a 50-50. But people don't realize that if they don't tech roll, that's also something, excuse me, that's also something that you have to consider. So if they don't tech roll, they might get up kick, right? That's another variable that you have to consider. That makes it so that you have to guess either Vortex or not. But the other variable is if they stay down or not. So they don't get up kick, they don't tech roll, they just stay down or side roll, right? Then what you do, that's another variable that you have to consider. But then what you do is you basically use moves that hit grounded. And the best moves we have for that is either forward, forward, 4 or down, back 4. So your mix-up can still work. So if your Vortex consists of forward, forward, 4 and down, back 4 mix-ups, which is also a mix-up, by the way, low and the mid, both of them hit grounded, right? It can be good because it also hits someone who stays on the ground. But there are some situations when it might whiff because side rolls, but usually they will work, usually, right? But be careful of certain side roll directions, they might make it whiff, but even if they whiff, you won't get punished for it most of the time. So yeah, it's okay. So what situation I talked about is this one. You basically 1-1-2, you do this, and they just stay on the ground. And your health sweep just, it doesn't do anything, right? And you might even get punished with like a get up 3. You're like minus 38 there. I'm pretty sure you're gonna get punished by a get up 3 or get up 4. So you have to be very, very careful about stuff like this. So if you want like good reward, you also have to guess, kind of like a guess in the variable that they will stay down. So forward, forward, 4 is your option. You also get a good Oki because of the pancake flip that I talked about, right? So you can go for another Vortex starter with a wave dash technique that I just taught you guys, or another forward, forward, 4 down, back 4 if you think they're gonna stay on the ground, right? But always do this technique. This wave dash to create space is very important. But the only big exception about this is while it works on the forward, forward, 4 pancake flip, right? On down back 4 it doesn't work as well. So let me just do this. So if I down back 4 and they back roll, let me just 1-1-2, down back 4 and they back roll, they also create a lot of space and also gives them decent amount of frames. So they actually have a lot of time here. So you have to be very careful. But this happens. So 1-1-2, down back 4. Let's just do this. Doing something like this, Vortex, will not work. So down back 4 is a big exception to this. So if you hit the down back 4 on the ground, you will not get a good Vortex starter because it's very, very risky to Vortex there. They have a lot of frames. They get up, normally. So be very careful about that. Be very, very careful. It can work if they tech roll maybe, but it's very risky. Be careful. Maybe at the wall it's fine, but outside the wall, not that fine. Not that good. Okay, so the next thing I also want to talk about, before I actually go to the next thing, just consider that what I talked about now applies to all of the knockdowns. All of them. So the variable of do they stay down or tech roll, not tech roll, side roll, you have to add that to all the knockdown situations. 1-1-2, back 1-2, 1+2, down back 1-2, all of them, you have to add that. Doesn't matter what knockdown it is, because they might choose to do that. They might choose to get up kick, they might choose to recovery kick, spring kick, side roll, stay on the ground, tech roll, right? These are variables. But you can basically put these 6 variables to 3. Basically, they either tech roll, they either use a button, which is get up kicks, any 4 of them, right? Or they will side roll, which is stay on the ground, side roll, basically. You can put these 3 variables and just consider these 3 instead of considering each single one, like get up low, get up mid, recovery kick, sprint kick, right? You don't need to consider each single one. Okay, so that's important. But now let's talk about the combo Vortex starter, right? So I was thinking about what's the best way to use Vortexes and Hell Sweep mix-ups after your combos, and what I found out personally is, well, this is my opinion obviously, right? But when you do a combo, like doesn't matter what combo, and you end it with CD3, this is one of your best ones. So doesn't matter what combo you do, let me just, do it my staple. I usually do this, sometimes I do some 3-1-4s. After this, you can actually do the Vortex that I talked about, which is wave dash, hold forward for a little bit more distance, and more tracking, which is the most important part, and then Hell Sweep. So this works against back rolls, right? I just do a normal combo, which is good to do because of damage. Do this tech, and hit them, right? Even though back roll creates a lot of distance. Now let's do it on side steps just so I can showcase that as well, right? Do the 3-1, Hell Lancer, do this, and it will work if you do it correctly. Right now I messed it up, and as I said, it's gonna be way easier to do against other characters other than Lily, but I just wanted to showcase Lily. So if you do it correctly, it works, just like you saw, right? But as I said, it's gonna be way easier on any other character other than Lily, because it's Lily. But yeah, it works even on Lily, so that's the big strength about it. But as I said in the other knockdowns, you also have to consider all the other variables, which is stay on ground, side roll, or get up kick, sprint kick, recovery kick, whatever, right? You have to consider those variables. The good thing about this is that you can also forward 4 here a little bit more consistently, and maybe you'll even beat some of the get up kick options, because your frame's a little bit good. But I also experiment with this as well, that if you do something like down forward 1-4, let's say you do this, if you down forward 1-4, the Vortex here doesn't exist. It just does not. You cannot Vortex there. Because down forward 1-4, what it does is it pushes them away very far without pushing you forward, which is a very, very big deal. It also has more hits as well. That's why it pushes them so far. But what CD3 does is something that down forward 1-4 does not do. And it pushes you forward. You fly forward with them a little bit, right? But that little bit makes the difference of you vortexing them or not, because of the wave dash technique I just taught you guys, right? So CD3 is a very, very good one. And if you do want to get a wall splat, just down forward 1-4 in those situations. Or down forward 1, down forward 2, which is harder, but that's another conversation. So yeah, CD3 ender, Hell Lancer ender, I really like it. So no matter what combo you do, it really doesn't matter. As long as you end it with that, even in this combo, right? 3-1-4, down forward 1-2, 3-1 Hell Lancer. You do the same thing, and your Vortex works. And your mid options are exactly the same as in the other situations, which is forward 4-2, right? This is your best one. Never forward 4-3. I talked about this already. You can also down forward 1-4 sometimes. Risky, but you know, doable. Forward 4-4 or forward 4. While forward 4 is the one that I wouldn't recommend that much because it's hard to actually make that track. It's very easily steppable. It's very, very hard to use. So the other ones are okay. More on the okay side. And yeah, one more thing, don't use this. Do not use it. Maybe in the neutral you can use it sometimes. Maybe you can troll with it. Who knows? But yeah, don't use it. Or maybe I'm gonna be like fact checked after the next update this month. Maybe they'll make this tracking or something like that. Hopefully, right? Hopefully buff Gauss, please. But yeah, don't use it. On the time that I'm making this vid, do not use it. Okay, so that's about the Hell Lancer ender and the Vortex after it. But now let's talk about the walls, right? The walls are also very, very important. So when it comes to walls, I'm only going to be talking about one wall combo, which is, I think, the most common one. But there are also a lot of wall combos, but I'm not going to be talking about them and their vortexes, because I'm just going to be talking about the one that I use the most, which is the down forward 3+4. This one right here. The other ones, you can ask other people who like those. I don't know. For example, you know, main man likes ending with down forward 2. I don't know his vortex options after this, but I don't like this combo. I already talked about this on my streams a lot about why I don't like it, so I won't explain it too much here. But yeah, let's explain the down forward 3 plus 4 and why I like it so much and what options I actually do. So after a wall splat, let's say you just get a wall splat, doesn't matter how you get it, right? And you do this combo, the options you have are pretty decent. In my opinion, it's pretty good. So this wall splat, not wall splat, wall combo does good damage. It's the highest damaging wall combo you have, I think. And the options you have for mix-ups are also decent, especially because they also work on Lily. So what I do is I use down forward 3 as a mid mix-up because it works on both tech roll directions. So if they tech roll left, tech roll right, down forward 3 will track them. It also depends on the angle. Sometimes if they tech roll right, it doesn't track them. But some situations, they're out rare, right? But it can sometimes happen. Just so you guys know, that's what I'm saying. But usually it works on tech roll left, which is the most common tech roll against Kaz. And if they do duck, let's say they duck here, you down forward 3, 2, right? And you get a 26 damage. You just confirm it, and you can even charge it up. And on hit, most likely they'll block it, right? Most likely. Unless they know and they can power crush, which I don't know why that exists. But yeah, it's good as a low mix-up, not low, mid mix-up. So what's the low mix-up? Low mix-up is very, very easy. Just mash down back 4. The same with down forward 3, just mash down forward 3. So because this is so easy, that's why I like it so much. It's a pure mix-up with down back 4 and down forward 3. And I mean a pure mix-up. You can't do anything about this. You have to guess. You can't even sidestep it. Like right now, I have Lily set to sidestep. So whenever she tech rolls, she will automatically sidestep, right? Just like that. But you notice that down back 4 worked and down forward 3 both worked. And that's really, really good because even Lily cannot sidestep it and they have to guess, duck or not, right? Which is amazing. Although the reward is little, it's not that much, right? Especially down back 4 and down forward 3, they only get frames and they're not that good. It's not a hell sweep, right? But it's still good because how easy they are to do. But if you want higher reward, with a little bit more risk, you can also do 4-4-2 as a mid mix-up, right? This also works, especially if it heat engages, it can be good. And they also cannot sidestep this, either side, or tech roll this, either side. So 4-4-2 as a mid mix-up is also another option that you have, which is not bad, but it's more minus, right? And it doesn't have any mind games, unlike down forward 3. So down forward 3 I really like because it has mind games with the 2 and has mind games with the last hit, you know, this one. So I do like this. 4-4-2 is another mix-up option you have as a mid, and the other one obviously is another hell sweep. But the thing about hell sweep is the risk of it is very, very high, especially if you play against someone like Lily. So when you do this wall combo and you hell sweep, they will be able to sidestep this. So the only time you have to hell sweep is when you read that they're not going to even try sidestepping, which can happen a lot because, as I said, sidestepping there is risky because all the options I just described, 4-4-2, down 4-3, and down back 4, they work regardless. They will get hit by all 3 of them if they try to sidewalk after their tech roll. So what do you do if they think they're not gonna sidewalk after the tech roll, right? You may use your hell sweep, but be very, very careful because, as I said, it's risky. If they sidewalk, it's gonna whiff. If they block it, obviously you're gonna get damaged by a lot. But let's say they don't, right? Just not back roll, they do that, but just don't sidestep. They just, you know, stand there and get mixed. So what you do, which is the best thing to do, is you sidestep with them. So if they tech roll left, try to align yourself with them like that. If you're P2, you sidestep to their direction on the right. If you're P1, you sidestep to their direction to the left. No, not to the left, to the other side. Basically, you just realign with them, right? Doesn't matter which side. And then you hell sweep. And that's just your mix-up, right? And the good thing about this mix-up is that it even has a chance to re-wall splat them like this. It does have this chance. So it's not bad at all. It is not bad. You can mix this up with any kind of mid you want, like 4-4-2. You can also use up forward 3. So up forward 3 is a mid mix-up I did not mention yet. But up forward 3 is a good mix-up at the wall, but only when you think that they're not going to sidestep. Because up forward 3 has the same weakness as the hell sweep, in the regard that they will just sidestep it. If they tech roll into sidestep, they'll sidestep it. So that's a weakness. But if they don't do that, and they just duck, because they're expecting hell sweep, they will get wall splat, right? It's pretty damn good. So up 4-3 is a good mix-up here. But as I said, consider the weaknesses. And the one thing I didn't mention, which is this very, very important, this is one of the reasons I like this so much, is that this wall combo makes it so that get-up kicks aren't that big of a problem. So let's just make him do a get-up kick, right? Let me do this. He's got a get-up kick now. So if I use any of the options I just described, not any of them, but the two main ones I started with, let's say down back 4, right? This will actually counter get up kicks, right? Both of them, low and the mid. The thing it will lose to is recovery kicks and sprint kicks. So let me just demonstrate that, right? If they sprint kick, down back 4, I will lose, right? It loses to that. Same with the recovery kick, it will lose to that. But then comes the down 4-3, which is the mid option, which is amazing that this is a thing, right? So if you down 4-3 here, they sprint kick, you actually win, and also get a guaranteed 1+2 here, which is great. It's great to have an option that will beat both get up kicks and sprint kicks. It's amazing, and also works as a mid mix-up because it tracks both sides after their tech roll, right? Very, very good. And about recovery kicks, so this works against sprint kicks. It is also good against recovery kicks because it has this property right here. So it literally trades. So unless the opponent does a perfect recovery kick, like the AI does right here, the perfect recovery kick will trade. And you will get more damage. So they get 6 damage, you get 15, just like in the damage charts you just saw. That's good for you, but the only thing that's minus about this is that you don't have frames. Right? I messed up. I just beat him. So yeah, sometimes you might even beat him because of the how weird frames work in some wall angles. But down 4-3 is great. It's just good. But I just want to showcase them, just showcase the trade. I just can't showcase it. Somehow I'm beating it. Somehow I'm just beating them. But yeah, I don't have the frames. They're a little bit more plus than you are whenever that trades, basically is what I want to say. So if you rewind the vid, I can't rewind the vid obviously, but if you rewind the vid, I'm guessing you can see the frames. They are a little bit more plus from what I remember. I mean, you can check by yourselves because I can't recreate it for whatever reason. YouTube curse, I guess. So yeah, so this is very good. Down 4-3 is very, very strong. 4-4-2 works really well. You can mix it up with the down back 4. You can mix it up with hell sweeps. You can mix it up with down back 3 sometimes, but I recommend down back 4. Highly recommended. Because down back 3, the main issue about down back 3 is that it has less tracking than down back 4, less frames than down back 4, less damage than down back 4. And the main plus about down back 3 is that it's a high crush. You don't use it for low mix-ups in these situations, but you can use it in the neutral for high crushing purposes, right? So it's good, don't get me wrong, it is good, but down back 4 is the way to go. Okay, so that's about all the situations that I can think of. Now let's talk about the ranking, right? What I think is the best one. I talked about Pancake Flip not being the best one anymore, but for me, personally, I think it's still pretty close because it's not that bad. But Hell Sweep Startup, just Hell Sweep, might be the best one. And I haven't mentioned this yet, right? I purposely delayed it in the last section, so this is the last section, for the Hell Sweep Vortex. So when you hit the Hell Sweep, of course, a Vortex starts, right? Let me actually put him in normal mode, you know, just tech roll left. Just like every other knockdown. So the Hell Sweep one, in my opinion, is the best one, but the close second is the Pancake Flip. And the third is the Combo Ender. So the Pancake Flip I already talked about, Combo Ender with the CD3 Hell Lancer, I already talked about, but I have not talked about the Hell Sweep, right? So the Hell Sweep Vortex is very, very strong and has the exact same amount of logic as the other ones. When you literally just do a wave dash forward into the Hell Sweep, right? And this will track really well. And also, the problematic back roll, you will also, you know, go forward for it, right? So this is a very, very good to do. Very, very good. But just like all the other options, you also have to be wary of sprankings and stuff like that. You have to be wary of them. And you also have to consider that the 4 version, so this, also has this. But it loses to back rolls pretty hard if you don't do it correctly. So you can still do it. Like this is also possible. But, let me actually make them sidestep. I didn't have them step. But it is still possible to do it, right? It is. But it's very, very hard. Way harder in general. Because of the pushback this has. Even though it has more damage, it has a lot more pushback. But something like this is way easier. Right? Way easier because of the close range. Okay, now I'll showcase this because last time I didn't have her sidestepping. Right? She cannot sidestep. She cannot do it. If you do this correctly, This is delayed timing as well, which is very, very strong. She cannot sidestep this. This is a pure Vortex. I just messed it up, mistimed it, and it's Lily. So if you do it correctly, it's very, very good to do, but sometimes you will mess it up. It's just how hard it is. And for mid mix-up, as I said, all the mid mix-up I mentioned previously can also work. So something like forward forward 4, not forward forward 4, forward 4 can work, but it's very hard, right? You have to dash into it. It's like very iffy. That's why I don't recommend it that much. Sometimes it works. Forward forward 4 will always work, which is also a good option, because if they stay down, this will also, you know, flip them over. Down back 4 is low mix-up, also works, and the best mid mix-up that you have is forward forward 2. So you do the same little wavoo thingy, and then forward forward 2. So the mix-up is gonna look something like this. You hell sweep, they tech roll, hell sweep again, right? Messed it up, it's fine, happens, it's Lily. Hell sweep again, do it, hell sweep again, right? Do it, hell sweep again, and then you forward forward 2. They duck forward forward 2, right? This is gonna be how the mix-up is gonna look and how the Vortex is gonna look in general. If you think they're gonna duck, forward forward 2. If you think they're not gonna duck, hell sweep. But as I already mentioned, there are 2 more variables before the Vortex even starts, because the Vortex starts on a tech roll. And if they don't do that, all this stuff just won't work. So you have to forward forward 4 sometimes, you have to down back 4 sometimes, you have to bait a get up kick sometimes, you have to like keep those into consideration as well. It's not only the Vortex. But yeah, the main reason I think this is the best is because forward forward 4 works so well here if you do it like instantly. If you do it correctly, it will also track them well. It might even counter hit get up kicks, it might even beat spring kicks. But as I said, in this game, they're not that big of an issue. The biggest issue we have is back rolls, which is why I devised this little wave dash dash technique to create space and make back rolls not work against this. Because in Tekken 7, for example, there was another technique that I was using, which was my favorite one. It was a forward forward into hell sweep. I really like this. This is an instant hell sweep tech with instant timing if you do it correctly, right? But this does not work against back rolls. So this tech is very good. I really like it. But if they back roll, it just doesn't work. So this happens if they back roll. And you just get launched, right? It just doesn't work. This was my favorite one. I really like this. But it doesn't work in Tekken 8 anymore. So you have to do the tech I talked about, which is the wave dash. So you create space. Not create space. Go closer and then hell sweep. But this is not bad because it works against sidesteps as well. And you have a good mix up with forward forward 2. But the big minus of this is you have to consider the get up kicks a lot more. Because the instant timing here makes it so that get up kicks won't beat you if you do it correctly. But yeah, as I said, it's very bad if they back roll. Very, very bad, actually. And the good thing about this forward forward tech, if you do it correctly, which is, no, it's hard, man, to whiff so much, is that your forward forward 2 will also work as an instant mix-up. And the other best thing, there are 2 very, very good things about this, is that changes your hell sweep time, which you cannot do anymore because back roll, right? So this is very, very important. Okay, so this is without heat. This is the last section, but only without heat, if I don't consider heat. Now I have to talk about some of the vortexes and Oki options when it comes to when you are in heat, which is also very important. So let's actually go in heat. I don't have heat enabled, I forgot. So go in heat. No heat limit, there we go. Go in heat, save it up, there we go. So when you are in heat, your Oki options are a little bit different and you have some new ones as well. So while you're forward forward 2, you may hit this sometimes a lot, right? This is a good move. So the laser here, some people think that you actually have Oki here. But you actually have none. The Oki here is basically non-existent. What you can do is you dash forward and basically just wave dash in, right? Do whatever, right? Normal wave dashes, and make them think you're gonna mix them up. And you can mix them up if they respect you, but can just as easily hop kick you. So basically you're in the neutral. Just go back to neutral. There's nothing like special about forward forward 2 there. Nothing special. The special thing that we have is 2 things actually. One is the Hell Lancer, which I talked about, this one. So this gives a very, very special kind of Oki. This enables vortexes if they don't use any get-up kicks, right? If they don't use any get-up kicks, it enables vortexes. Or spring kicks, or recovery kicks. So that's good. But The other options you also have is down back 4, which in my opinion is one of the best ones. So why do I like down back 4 and not something like a low laser, right? So low laser, this is also a good option. Deals decent damage, right? Deals like 2 more damage than this, way better frames, and has way more range. But why do I like down back 4 more? The main reason I like down back 4 here is because it just straight out beats get up kicks. So if I do this into low laser and they get up kick, I get beat. I can counter it. I don't like this. This is annoying. But now if I just change that up with a down back 4, I just beat them. I just beat them, right? And it beats both get up kicks, low and the mid option, both of them. But it loses to spring kicks and loses to recovery kicks. But it covers more options. And not to mention, if they just don't do anything, right? If they just don't do anything, if they just get up, they just get up. This down back 4 also works as a low mix-up. It does not whip the air. It's very, very good. So it beats get up kicks and also beats, not beats, but it works as a low mix-up. So it's very strong. The other thing you can also do is forward, forward, 4. But forward, forward, 4 is a little bit iffy. You have to be very fast to actually beat spring kicks, not spring kicks. Get up kicks. They might still hit you sometimes. But forward, forward, 4 is also good. But if you want like a bare mid mix up for down back 4, you can also forward, forward 2. Right? If you think they're gonna duck. But the thing you cannot do is a forward 4. You cannot do this. Forward 4 does not reach. It just doesn't reach. It's not a mid mix up. So you have to be very, very careful about that. But the next thing I also want to mention is what you do for recovery and spring kicks. It's actually very, very simple. If you think a spring kick is coming, you can't really press anything. Well, you kind of can, like something like this, maybe on a hard read, but it's not worth it, right? You shouldn't do this on a hard read. The best thing you do to maximize reward is either just block it, right, into electric, or sidestep it. But on a sidestep, you have to know what you can punish with. Like my best punish is that, for example, right? Just backboard. I really like doing that. And the same with recovery kicks. If you do sidestep it, you will make both whip. But the thing about recovery kick, back forward won't work as much. It can work, but it will sometimes whip. Like I've had this whip before. But it can sometimes still work. Right? But down back 1, 2 is basically gonna be your punish. It is gonna be your punish. I don't know why I've had a back 4 whip sometimes here, but sometimes it does. But the biggest thing about back 4 also is that if you do sidestep, and if they do a low get up kick, you can't just automatically back forward this, right? You can't do that. So you have to kind of react to the get up kick here. Down back 1, 2 is gonna be your option with like pretty decent damage, right? If you want something better, you can also down forward 1, 2, which is also really good. So just sidestep here, right? Sidestep, make this swift, down forward 1, 2, launch it, right? Into whatever combo you want. This is the best combo I know, right? Just triple electric, into 3-1, CD3, whatever, good damage. So yeah, keep this in mind. You have to either bait these 2 options, which is spring kick, recovery kick. The sidestep also beats get up kick, so it's not bad. Or use a mix-up option, which is also pretty good. You can just Vortex after it. So that's one of the new things we have in Heat, which is not bad at all, the CD3 ender. I like it. Personally, I like it. But the other one we also have is a CD1 ender. So in combos, let's say you just do combo, right? Doesn't matter what you do. You end with CD1. Like do this, CD1, right? End it with this. You also have good Oki options here. The very, very common one is a low laser. It's very, very common. I'm pretty sure everyone knows this. You do this, and the low laser. It just works. It counter hits their get up kick attempts. It's very strong. It will counter hit them anytime they try to, even while standing 4 or something like that, it will counter hit them. And it will hit like very, very far range. So even if they back roll, so let's say they just back roll, right? Even though this creates a lot of space, the low laser still hits them. It still hits them. No one expects this. It's very good. Right? And if they block low, you can mix it up with forward, forward 2. It's not that bad. They might sometimes get up, like duck and get up for the forward, forward 2. But then you can also enforce a mix-up, right? You have a lot of options here. But the best one is gonna be the low laser. It is the low laser. If you really want the Vortex, you can also go in the Vortex. You know, just go in, hell sweep them. Right? You can also do that. Because the good thing about this is they cannot tech roll. They cannot tech roll after this. Because of the weird way they are knocked down. Right? They just back roll and you can hell sweep them. Or forward, forward 2. Or whatever. Right? But keep it in consideration. They can wall standing 4 here, they can get up kick here, but they cannot sprint kick, which is also very good. But the main situation here is either what's it called, low laser or 4-4-2 for mix-ups. But be careful about 4-4-2, you have to extend it to make it like longer range. Okay, now let's talk about these two situations at the wall as well, especially the CD1. I think I'm going to talk about CD1 situation, and that's going to be it at the wall. So at the wall, let me actually go to the wall. To the wall we go. Something like this. Stand up. Oh my god. This is so annoying to manage sometimes, you know. Okay, there we go. Let's go in heat. There we go. Okay, so at the wall, what this gives you, I'm pretty sure a lot of people know, is a very, very good mix-up at the wall, which is down forward 2 will hit them if they try to get up, or something ground hitting like forward forward 4 or down back 4 will hit them if they stay on the ground. Right? It's very, very strong. So these are gonna be your like basic mix-ups. You can also down back 1 too, but for people who know, it's gonna be risky to do this. It is usable, don't get me wrong, right? You can just do this wall combo with this in any way you want, and then down back 1 too if you have a straight angle. But for, as I said, for people who know, it's gonna be a little bit risky. But the basic mix-up here, use down forward 2. If they try to get up, it'll hit them, deal decent damage, or down back 4 forward forward 4 if they stay on the ground, which is also really, really good. That's like a very, very basic mix-up, right? You can also do some other stuff like low laser there sometimes, but yeah, it's pretty good to do. And the other thing you can also do at the wall when you have heat is, you might see some Kazuya players do this, is down forward 1-2. So you just do this, they down forward 1-2, and just mix them up with a low laser, right? This is also one of the things they do, and a very good Oki option, because low laser works as a low mix-up that's very, very +6, right? Hits grounded as well, and it can be mixed up with something like down back 1-2. So this is another mix-up option. It's not purely a Vortex, but I just want you guys to know as well. Okay, and I think that's it, right? I think that's it. I talked about non-heat version of knockdowns. The other thing, one thing I haven't talked about is the 1-1-2. This one, right? So this one has absolutely no Oki. One thing that you can kind of do after this is you low laser here, but it's very, very hard to do and it's very specific. But this has no Oki. Just get back to neutral. You don't get anything here. You're way too far. And the only reason to do this, so there are 2 reasons to do this. I just want to briefly mention this. You don't get a Vortex, but the reasons to do this is 1 for damage, maybe it will kill, or 2 for wall positioning. So the wall positioning is basically something like this, right? If you're on this kind of position, like this one, you will might want to change sides so they have the wall, right? Instead of you. So this is good to do in this situation. So those 2 situations. Okay, I think that's actually it. I talked about so much situations and knockdown situations. Maybe I missed some of them. There are some other ones as well, like sidestep 3 knockdown, but let's not talk about those because, you know, it's not that good of a move. Or CD1+2 knockdown, not that good of a move. But other than that, it's pretty damn good. And the other Vortex situations you also have are heat engagers, which is like, you know, obviously you know this. The main mix-up here is you can forward 3, you can forward 2 for mid, you know, you can hell sweep, down back 4. All the options I listed are your options after heat engagers and your options after heat dashes at the wall, right? So that's very, very important. Okay, so YouTube, big thank you for watching. Big thank you for watching. Damn, this is almost 1 hour. I just talked about the Vortex and knockdowns. But yeah, big thank you for watching once again, and till the next one.